What's up? What's up? What's up, y'all? I'm back at it again. As you can see, it's been a busy day. It's going to be a busy week, and we're back here with another episode of the Draftnerds podcast. I am joined here by a very, very special guest and a very busy woman. So I just want to let y'all know to get her to sit down long enough to be able to do this. I'm honored and I'm appreciative. We have Dee. Most of y'all know her as Dee Loves Sports. She is a sports and media personality, host of Sports and Coffee, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern time. She is everywhere, y'all. I mean, she's at the Super Bowl. She's at the draft. She's at, NFL honors. I mean, if you know sports, you follow football, and especially specifically if you follow the Steelers, you know Deesports and her face. She's everywhere. How you doing, Dee?
I'm good. You made me sound like I'm just like impossible.
Oh, you're a superstar, man. That's what happens when you're a superstar.
Oh man.
Okay. You become as big as the people you cover. So that's awesome. So how's everything been, man? Like, with all the busyness, busy is good. How's it been?
Everything's been good. I've actually been enjoying the off season. As busy as, kind of February is, there's like this lull if your team doesn't make it to the Super Bowl, which my team didn't. There's this lull in January, late January and February where you kind of like relax. And then there's like build up from, I've been going since like end of January from Pro Bowl to Super Bowl, and then got a nice little break, and then things kind of picked up again. And of course I'm covering the UFL now. So I still have football in me. So it's been good. I've been, still having the football anxiety, I'll call it. But nothing like NFL, but it's like prepping me for September.
What's coming? Exactly. Yeah. Before we get into like the football talk, I want to just kind of like get a little more deeper. The sports climate is changing, and I think it's changing for the better. The impact that women are having on sports today is it's beautiful to see. And we always have to think about for people who don't know anything about, anything that happened before now, it wasn't always like this. You didn't see a lot of women in front of the camera, behind the scenes, women on the sideline coaching. You just didn't see it, right? And now you see the WNBA. There's a lot of interest starting to go that way towards those women, and they deserve it. A big shout out to Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese for bringing eyes to that sport. And every time I turn on my TV, there is a woman hosting a sporting show or talk show, whether it be football, basketball, soccer. It doesn't matter what it is. What is your take, obviously being a woman and seeing how women are dominating the sport right now?
I love it. I think that representation matters. If you told me at a young age, and I think my calling probably was an agent, I probably could have been a really, really good sports agent. But growing up, like I didn't know that, a woman that looked like me could be a successful sports agent. Right. If you had Nicole Lynn's back when I was growing up, I probably would have been like, I want to be the next Nicole Lynn. Like I want to run Clutch Sports for football. Like those. Representation is so important to show young women what's possible. So I think that we are in a great place, and people see women's basketball and they see what's happening. But I also say to the men, because they always kind of push it back on the women, like women need to support it. Yeah. But there's been no sport that women have brought up from the ground. Men have supported every single sport, whether it's baseball, whether it's soccer, whether it's football, whether it's basketball, and the women follow. Yeah. So I hate when men tell me like, oh, but the women have to support. They will. Like they will. Like we get the men on top of it, the women will follow, and the women will ultimately, to me, dominate. I was like, you better get in on it now, because when the women get into it, they're gonna take it over. So like get in, the men, you get into it, and then the women will come in and they'll find their place, and then you'll be pushed to the side. So
absolutely. I'm all about equality too. I think women should be fairly compensated the same way men are. And so that's a big point of conversation now too, is
absolutely
women getting their share and their cut. So kudos to you and for doing what you do, and keep doing it, because there is a young D somewhere that's 10, 11 years old wanting to know, hey, I want to be in sports and talk about sports, but I don't know if that's something I can do, and you are representation. So kudos to you. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
No problem. Thank you. So obviously, as you can see, people you can see in the background, she is a big Steelers supporter, fan, covers the team, all that good stuff. You guys have had an interesting offseason, right?
Yes,
I've
absolutely.
been an NFL fan for a long time. Obviously,
Mhm.
being a Ravens fan, I have seen the Steelers closely over the years, and I can't remember an offseason where the Steelers were this busy. So,
Yeah.
what's your take on the Steelers offseason so far? Do you like the moves that they've made? And yeah, what do you think about it so far? And do you like the moves that they've made?
I love the moves that they made. The only move that I think that I don't fully understand or, can really wrap my head around is moving of Deontay Johnson. But
Yeah,
outside of that, I love everything. This is some, I hate to use this word because I feel like it's overused, unprecedented times for this for this organization. And I just feel like they have done some things that we didn't see coming. And I say that if you were to go back to last year or years before, but if you actually like look at all of it, it's just something that has historically not been done. But
yeah,
as the chips start to fall, I think back in the end of last year, I was like, okay, Russell Wilson is going to be a thing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like
right,
it was in my head, in my mind. Like once I found out that Denver had to pay him,
right,
it was to me like it was done. It was a done
right.
deal.
Yeah.
Steelers fans obviously didn't believe that. And they were stuck on Justin Fields. But I was like, Russell Wilson that's it because of the price tag. Like that this fits everything the Pittsburgh Steelers do as far as
Yeah.
money goes. It fits everything that they're missing in that room. They don't have anybody with playoff experience, successful playoff experience. They don't have anybody in there that's won a Super Bowl. So, and they don't have to pay a lot for them. So to me, it was just like it was a no-brainer. But as things in our GM just has the patience, like Omar Khan just has the patience of, I'll just say a teacher. Like you can pick what kind of teacher, but the patience of a teacher to sit and wait for things to kind of fall in place with along with the Steelers and what they're willing to pay. And that's kind of how things worked out with Justin Fields. And you could say in so many words he may be the future because because Russell Wilson is technically on a 1-year deal. But both of these guys are going to be trying to prove their worth this year. Of course, getting Patrick Queen was awesome.
Mhm.
And I'm excited for that as well. But
So
the ones everyone's talking about is the complete transformation of the quarterback room in
yeah,
Pittsburgh.
crazy. So okay, so are you in the belief that Russell Wilson will be the starter this year?
Yeah. Listen, I always believed that even with the former quarterback, I try not to talk about him too much because he's no longer on the team. I always thought that he would probably be the guy because again, he gave you the experience. And Pittsburgh is known for starting the guys with experience first. We saw that with Mitchell Trubisky. They wanted to give him the opportunity to lead this team because he had experience.
Yeah.
So in my mind, yes, it's Russell's team, is Russell's offense to guide. And if something happens the opposite way, fine. I'm
Yeah.
completely comfortable, and Justin might not be comfortable with this, but I'm comfortable with him coming into a new environment, learning what's going on, getting familiar with the plays, the offensive scheme. Everybody has to get new to get hip to this new offense. Just getting comfortable with the environment itself, and hopefully it's way more nurturing than what he had in Chicago. Russell's been to he's been around a long time, so he can probably adapt a little bit better. But for Justin, I think it's okay for him to just sit back, don't have the stress, be the best him he could be, and be ready for his opportunity when it comes. You
Yeah.
never know when it's gonna come. So
Yeah.
just pipe down. You don't have to deal with the stress of the media and all that jazz. And people don't consider the little things. And I feel like I'm rambling here, but
Good.
I've seen rookies come to Pittsburgh, and at the end of their first home game, they're like, "Where do I meet my family after the game?" They're the little things, the little things people don't think about, where guys don't know where to go and what to do. Let him settle in, let him learn, let him figure out the smallest of things, and he's comfortable.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I mean, I know Justin Fields is exciting because he's younger, he's more athletic, and he represents what the quarterback position is in today's NFL. And so there is always going to be that urge, especially from fans, to just want to put him out there. It's kind of what happened with the Bears, right? Like they didn't let him develop. They just kind of threw him out there. And then when everything collapsed, everybody said, well, it was Justin's fault, right? And so to me, I think having Russ there, and the Steelers will be patient to be able to just let Russ play, even if he struggles, let him take his lumps. Don't force Justin out there until Justin is ready. Because sometimes when you try to force things to appease the fans, it might not be the best decision for the team. And so to speak, let him develop, let him get his, let it happen organically, right? If Justin is outplaying him in practice and it's just obvious to everyone that he needs to be the starter, then so be it, right? But I agree with you 100%. So you mentioned something, and we gotta talk about it. Obviously, our boy Patrick Queen left the Ravens to go to the dark side. He did a heel turn for those wrestling fans out there, and so obviously you were excited about Patrick Queen coming to Pittsburgh.
For
yeah.
sure.
What type of impact do you think he will have on the Steelers defense?
Well, I mean, I think you can understand or, have an appreciation for what Patrick Queen looked like alongside of Roquan Smith.
Yeah.
And you saw a significant jump in his game. And I'm not sure if you're familiar, but we have TJ Watt on our defense. And we also have another guy on the opposite side, Alex Highsmith. And we have also Minka Fitzpatrick.
The guy behind your right shoulder.
That guy. Number 3.
That guy right there. Yeah.
So I think that he fits amazingly with this defense and helps help a TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith up front. Of course, a Cam Hayward, of course, a Larry Ogunjobi, but then the guys like a Minka Fitzpatrick that are trying to watch everything. And if you ever seen Minka sideline to sideline, before he got injured last year, he's leading the teams in tackles. So if you have a guy that's in between those forces that can help out a Minka Fitzpatrick make those necessary tackles, I'm not mad at it. And I saw that in Patrick Queen and the Ravens, and I know he can bring that energy to the Steelers. So I'm excited about it. We were losing linebackers left and right last year. So, I mean, it's going to be a breath of fresh air to have him out there. So I'm glad he picked what was right for him. And I'm excited.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean,
and CRJ said he needs King Henry to stiff arm PQ. Good luck with that. We do very well against what's his name? Derrick Henry. So ask Derrick Henry about TJ Watt.
All I can say is that Ravens-Steelers rivalry just got real again, right? It's always been one of the best rivalries in sports. Definitely the best rivalry in the NFL to me. Now, it's kind of died down a little bit since some of the greats have retired. Ben Roethlisberger, Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs, Troy Polamalu, Ryan Clark, all the, Ike Taylor, guys on the outside, Haloti Ngata. Since those guys have left, it's kind of died down. But I feel like the new kids are starting to adapt and understand what that rivalry means. And trust me, they hear from the fans all the time what that rivalry means, and we won't let them forget it. So adding Patrick Queen to the Steelers just, to me, adds a little more gasoline to the fire. And I can't wait. It's going to be exciting.
It's respected. I think it's probably the most respected rivalry in the AFC North. I think the other ones are becoming a little bit more nasty. You can speak to it, you guys in the Browns and Bengals, think they're the ones.
They do.
And so I think this I always have respect for the Ravens. I think this is always going to be something. I respect you guys, but it's just I can't like you, So it's one of the most respected rivalries in the AFC North. and it should be one of the top rivalries in the whole NFL. But hey,
agreed.
we'll let
Agreed.
them
Agreed.
decide.
It's coming back, and man, it's gonna be exciting, man. Russell Wilson versus Lamar Jackson twice a year. Um, you know, the Bengals and the Browns, they still have to put some plaques on the wall to be able to make it a real thing.
Tell them again, because you know those little Claire's rings from Claire's, they think they got something, but
you know, the Ravens versus Steelers. The Steelers have actually stopped the Ravens from making it to the Super Bowl. The Ravens have actually stopped the Steelers from making it to the Super Bowl. We've played each other in AFC Championship games, so this rivalry runs deep. Runs really.
You gotta look at the coaches, right? Like you got Harbaugh and Tomlin are the longest tenured coaches in the league. You got 1 and 2 right now, and they have such respect for each other. Yeah. And you know, the teams are built off defenses that go at you year after year after year. And you know, that is truly the DNA of these two teams. And I think that is why you see them at the top of the North the most often, you know.
So I gotta ask you a question. So you guys made a trade this offseason. It was kind of interesting. You guys traded Deontay Johnson to the Carolina Panthers. Deontay had been with the Steelers for a while. He earned a second contract, and then there was some things that happened last season, apparently in the locker room during the game, that definitely didn't sit right, apparently, with the Steelers front office and coaching staff. Can you elaborate on that? Like, what was the situation that led to Deontay Johnson being traded out of Pittsburgh?
I'm probably not the one. I'm probably not the best one for this because I don't really engage in all the dramatics of a lot of things. So there are things that happen on the field, like you saw him, you know, not execute a play properly.
Right.
Happens everywhere. Right. You know, this one was highlighted. There may have been bickering amongst teammates. Happens everywhere. It got highlighted for whatever reason. But I think at the end of the day, this team decided to move on from Deontay Johnson because they played a numbers game that he was going to have. I really think that's what it was. Not because he's not talented. I think he's one of the best routes runners in the AFC North. Like the guy can run some serious routes, and you saw what impact he made when he wasn't there, and it was only George Pickens and a Calvin Austin and whoever else was out there on offense as well at wide receiver. There was no Deontay Johnson, but the game plan opens up when he's out there. So I do think he's impactful. You can't leave him unguarded. You just can't. Right. So his value to me was higher than what I think we got for him. I really do think that. But knowing that they had to pay him in a few weeks or a couple days or whatever it was, the time frame from him being on the roster, you know, they probably just didn't want to take that hit, and it worked out for them. I don't really think it was because of the drama. I just think it was just a value move for Omar.
Yeah,
he didn't ask for the trade, from what I'm being told. So,
it was more the front office.
It was a front office move for whatever reason.
Okay. Yeah. So then that brings me to my next question, I guess, and the next topic is Brandon Ayuk. His name has been floated around quite a bit, especially with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Hearing things, you know, rumors, and the Steelers are interested. Steelers, you know, made an offer. What's your take on that? I mean, obviously, you would probably like to see Brandon Ayuk come to the Steelers. Am I right?
I would love Brandon to come to the Steelers. I know the Pittsburgh Steelers. The biggest concern I would have for Brandon is, like, I want to know what you want to be paid, because the Pittsburgh Steelers typically don't pay this large sum of guaranteed money like most teams are. Like you saw what's the gentleman in Tennessee that got a big check?
Calvin Ridley.
Like you saw these big and Devontae Smith and you know, I don't know if the Steelers are there yet on offense. They have one of the most lucrative defenses, like the defense is one of the highest paid defenses in the league. Yeah. They are not there when it comes to the guaranteed money. So trading for Brandon Ayuk, I am cool with, under the circumstances that he's okay with what they could potentially paying him long term. And that's the biggest hiccup for me. I would hate for them to invest in getting him here and not being able to keep him happy with the money that they're paying him. I'm honestly surprised at what they got Patrick Queen to come here for. I was like, how did they finesse that?
Yeah, for sure.
I am totally shocked. I just knew that man was getting over a certain amount guaranteed. When I saw that number, I said, oh, okay.
I did too.
He just he must really wanted to come here because ain't no way I would have anyway, I'm happy you're here, Patrick. But that's my biggest concern. I love him as an athlete. I love what he was able to do. I think he would be a great addition to this offense. My only concern is just what he'd be willing to take. Obviously, San Francisco has not come to the table with a deal at this moment in time. So I don't know if San Francisco's kind of play is going down, like if they're losing advantage in this. And if they are, I'll tell you this: the Pittsburgh Steelers will wait for as long as they can wait, just like what happened with Justin Fields, for the value to go down to an affordable price. They will do it. So the more Brandon's antics tick up and he, starts making a big scream about, I don't want to be here no more or whatever, that's when the price comes down for Brandon Ayuk. And that's when the Steelers, come in and play.
That's when they normally pounce. I will say you aren't the only one who thought Patrick Queen went for a bargain. Ravens fans were very surprised. We thought we were going to get a third round comp pick for him because we thought his contract would be top of the market, and then it came in so low. I think we're going to get a fourth round pick for him. But yeah, I'm like, So because I think a lot of people assumed that he would go to Seattle to follow Mike McDonald right to Seattle. And so when he went to Pittsburgh, we like, well, was Seattle not interested? Unless, like you said, he really
Mike Tomlin. Let's be honest.
He really wanted to play with Mike Tomlin. So Brandon Ayuk, that's an interesting thing, right? Because again, if the Steelers were to trade for Brandon Ayuk, it would go against everything that the Steelers normally do. Yeah. That's not what they do, right? They don't go big fish hunting. They don't go big game hunting in the offseason. They don't trade for the top, prospect at any position. They don't do that. They First of all, when it comes to wide receivers, you guys, no one drafts better and develops better at that position.
Receiver, yeah.
I mean, you guys have put out Pro Bowler after All Pro after Hall of Famer at a position without even drafting them in the first round.
Yeah. I mean,
even
Antonio Brown.
The last receiver that you guys drafted in the first round was Plexico Barris.
Plexico Barris?
Yeah. He was the last one that I can remember that you drafted in the first round. And so it's incredible when you think of the names that have gone through there. You just mentioned Antonio Brown, Emmanuel Sanders, Mike Wallace, Hines Ward, Santonio Holmes. I mean, we got George Pickens now. I mean, it continues to go.
Like a rounder.
It continues to go and go and go. So talking about the draft, you guys have the 20th. The 20th overall pick this year. What do you think the Steelers are going to do with that pick? Or what would you like to see them do with that pick?
Well, our biggest gap is center. So they haven't addressed that in free agency. We technically have no center on our roster. Herbig is actually the backup center. So I can't imagine not saying that first. So center to me seems like the priority, but of course, and this is, I stress this, and I sorry if I keep saying it. I'm not a mock drafter. I just I'm anti mock draft because you just never know how things would go. I don't know too many people that had Broderick Jones and Joey Porter Jr. in the second round on their draft bingo card last year because everyone thought Joey was going in the first round. People did have Broderick Jones being picked up by the Steelers. And show me all the people that had Broderick and then Joey for the Steelers, and I will give you a cookie. But you just never know. And then the Steelers actually went up because New England took, they switched with New England because New England, wanted to do something against the Jets or whatever. You just never know how draft night's going to go. But a center is truly the thing that we need. That's the biggest hole on our roster right now. And I see them doing that first. If not, I'm fine with it. I'm not one to be like, oh my God, I can't believe they didn't draft a center first. I don't, they just do so well in the draft that I don't have to worry. I don't have to stand on my, toes and just be like, oh my God, what are we going to do? It's not New England. It's not like, I just don't have to worry about them drafting badly. I just don't stress about it. So they have a game plan. They have multiple plans and I'm cool with it. But I think a center is probably the biggest hole for that team.
I would agree. I actually mocked. I do mocks, but I've actually mocked.
Is it fun? Like, I don't understand it. Is it fun for you? Like, what do you get out of it? Do you like want to be right? Is it just like strat? Like, what is it?
Like so what it is, it's like a puzzle, right? So I go to the Senior Bowl, I go to the East West Shrine game, the NFL Combine, and you're watching these prospects, you're watching them work out, you're watching them doing the college season, so you know who's who and what's what, and so now you know the players, right? So those are the pieces, right? And then you got this puzzle and you just need to put them in place. And a lot of times you can put them in place based on the needs of the teams and based on what the team did or did not do during the free agency, which is why I'm glad free agency is before the draft, because it helps you better understand the draft process. And so it is fun. It's an exercise of doing your homework, understanding each team's needs and the type of DNA or mentality each team has, and then just trying to play matchmaker. Basically, it's really fun. I enjoy, and when you are right, there is a sense of a gratification that like I was that, right? Like I did. I hit on a couple of things last year, like Zay Flowers, for example. I did hit that. I
love Zay Flowers, by the way. I met him draft night last year. He's a good kid.
Yeah, I hit Joey Porter Jr. to the Steelers, by the way, but I did not hit him
in the second round.
Right. I hit him in the first round.
Exactly.
In the second round.
Exactly.
You guys had a first round pick because Miami had to forfeit their pick. So technically, he was the 32nd overall pick, which is technically a first round pick. But I did have that Porter. It just made too much sense. Now you will be in Detroit, right? For the draft. What are you going to be doing there, first of all? And what are you looking forward to seeing, to doing while you're at the draft?
So the thing about the draft is I find amazing, and it truly brings me joy to be in that city around, one, the fans, two, not just the players, but their support system.
Yeah.
You never know who you're going to run into. I've ran into grandparents of guys that are getting drafted, the aunties, the uncles, the moms and the dads of these guys getting drafted. And it is an experience to have these conversations with them as they get ready to embark on a life-changing journey. I remember talking to Malik Willis's aunt, and she was hoping that he got drafted to Atlanta. And I was just like, but no, I want him to come to Pittsburgh. And so, we had that moment in Las Vegas, and we just, a moment I'll never forget. And going around and seeing the different fans of who they want for their teams. And I remember I have this clip of these Colts fans, and they were so upset that they got Lord, who was their quarterback? Anthony Richardson. They had drafted Anthony Richardson, and they were so upset because they wanted Will Levis. And I'm like, you're sad. Like, they were so mad. But just to kind of get the fans in their element, in their zone, and they've already had their mind made up of who they want. Yeah. And also when it comes to the player side, just having them live in that moment of a once in a lifetime experience, a moment they'll never be able to replicate again. Yeah. And just seeing Bryce Young sit there and look to see where his peers got drafted, and just be in that moment and have that moment where you get to ask Will Anderson and CJ Stroud questions as they become teammates of now what appears to be an elite Texans team. Yeah. And seeing it at just the infancy stage, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome because you'll be able to use that moment to reflect back on as you continue your journey with them through sports.
Agree, 100%. What you're talking about and is the emotion of the draft, right? And which is why I say it's the greatest reality show in the world, because you get to see real people have real emotions about things that they've been dreaming about their whole lives, right? So you got these kids who've been playing football since they were like 5 and 6 years old, and now you get to see them live a dream, right, in real time, and you get to see all of the raw emotion, not only just from them, like you said, the family, being able to hear the stories behind how they got there. And each person is different. And that's what makes it so unique, because everyone had a different journey that all led to the same destination, which I think is just, it's a beautiful thing. And it's why so many people love the draft, because like you said, there's people who are like super into the draft and they are like scouts at heart and things like that. But then you have people who, like yourself, who just loves the emotional aspect of the draft. And that's why it's something for everybody. I think that's what makes the draft just so popular. What do you got?
I like bringing that to the like my audience. Like, I will be sending content to the internet for people that will never been to the draft, may never be able to come to a draft. What does it look like? What does it sound like? What are people doing? Right. And I think that I love bringing people to places they may never be able to get to. Bingo. And so that's one of the joys also, outside of just the emotional piece. Like, this is what it looks like, y'all. This is the environment. This is what I'm doing. These are the fans. These are their pure reactions to things. And I love being able to just bring an experience to the fans.
Yeah, I love that. And you do a good job of that. Every time I've always followed you, you will be, going live, or you post something and you're on the red carpet or something, and you're like, hey, I'm here, da da da. And people are like, yo, that's D. We just was in the space together. And like, now she over there talking stalwarts, right, from the Steelers back in the day, so that's pretty cool, man. Letting people know, again, if you can do it, hey, anybody can do it, right? Like, I'm a real person. We talk, that's how it's supposed to be. So real quick, for the casuals, right? The people who know the Steelers but don't know the Steelers, give me a couple of players that you think may be in store for a breakout season.
I really want my guy Connor Hayward to have a breakout season. Mm-hmm. We have to see what Arthur Smith has in store for him, because he's labeled as a tight end. They put him on the roster as a fullback, but he can just really give you some wide receiver, fullback, tight end support. Yeah. I think he's just kind of like a catch-all guy. And I'm looking forward to him, like, or people like to say gadget. I'm looking forward to him being implemented in the offense. I am like, fingers crossed that my guy, oh my God, why did his name just like leave my brain? But he's like the monster tight end that we have.
Darnell Washington.
Darnell Washington. Yeah. His name just left. Darnell Washington. I am hoping Darnell Washington has impact in the receiving game this year. They do use him like an additional lineman because of his size and his ability to block. Right. But I would love to see him posted up in the back of the end zone, catching a pass from Russell Wilson. That would be amazing. So I want to see him do more. Okay. Breakout season on the defensive side, I'm thinking. Mm-hmm. Corey Trice, like, I'm excited to see him. He was hurt all last year. I am hoping he gets out there. He shows up and shows people, what we missed last year. And I mean, maybe even Patrick Queen. I don't know if it'll be considered a breakout, but I would love for him to show up.
Is Najee Harris going into a contract year? Is this a contract season?
The Steelers have about another week or some change to pick up his 5th-year
option. Right. Okay. Right. Because it's the same year as Bateman.
But we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully they pick it up, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, you guys, I mean, you just mentioned, Darnell Washington is a massive tight end. When he went to the Steelers, I was like, oh God, because it made so much sense, because he reminds you of a Steeler or a Raven. Like he's just,
Yeah.
and my guy Bill always says that teams, he's this term called shared DNA. And he says the Ravens, the Steelers, and the Patriots all have shared DNA. And he's right, because those teams have so much in common. From they've employed some of the same people over the years. They have some of the same philosophies. They're very, very patient teams. They don't believe in spending a lot of money on outside free agents. They have a very, like, that shared DNA, like he said. And I love that term, because when you think about certain players, that's what makes my job easier when I'm doing the draft.
Yeah.
I can already tell you who's going to be a Steeler, who's going to be a Raven or a Patriot, or, because I know the DNA of those.
You know the caliber of player they have to be.
Yeah, I know what it's like. Like
Mm-hmm.
I know certain guys y'all not even going to look at. Right? I already know they're not even on the board, because that person doesn't. We got a thing called play like a Raven. I don't know what y'all's thing is, but yeah, I know what it still looks like. And so, okay, cool. So you're going to be at the draft coming up on Thursday. What else do you have going on? What else do you have coming up? Where people can follow you and keep up with you, always on the run?
So yeah, the draft is a big deal, but also it is in the midst of the UFL season, and I am here in Maryland. So I cover the DC Defenders, so they are like my pride and joy right now, and I put a lot of energy into promoting the UFL and the DC Defenders. Even when I went to training camp last year for the Steelers, one of the questions I asked Mike Tomlin, I was like, hey, like, how do you value the USFL and the XFL at the time? How do you value this talent? Because they were definitely one of the teams that had XFL and USFL players at training camp. And he really had value on them and the high value on the tape. So pouring in, highlighting the UFL every chance I get, highlighting women that cover the UFL. And here in Maryland, we have women, especially women of color, covering the DC Defenders. And I just want to do whatever I can to highlight those guys who are looking for opportunities, who want to showcase their leadership and their talents. And I feel like I'm just doing the Lord's work. Okay. And I'm just doing whatever I can to highlight them, because I feel like it's so important. People laugh at it, but if you truly love football and the game of football, then you're not watching the UFL, you are missing out on good football, because these are not guys that just don't have talent. They have talent, and they just don't have the opportunity. And the DC Defenders played Matt Corral last night, and it was a great game. It went down to the wire, as most DC Defenders games do. And I think the score was like 18-20 in the last seconds. So, if you have that's kind of where most of my energy is going on the weekends, is the UFL DC Defenders. But the draft, there are gonna be some camps, celebrity games, and stuff that I'll be covering throughout the summer. So make sure you're staying tuned. I'm also doing a weekly podcast for the Steel Curtain Network called The Week That Was, where I kind of wrap up what kind of happened for the Steelers and around the league, significant events, weekly on the Steel Curtain Network, which I think it's a part of Fans First. Yeah, I know. I'm not saying I think. I know it's a part of Fans First Sports Network. So I'm there. I'm doing that every week. As long as all of the other opportunities that come my way. I'm getting really big into this recruiting space. I had my first Recruiting 101 show on Twitter Spaces the beginning of April, which I am so proud of, because it's becoming something that I want to make informative for parents, other coaches, student athletes. It is so important to understand recruiting from a coach's perspective, understanding the rules, understanding what they're looking at. And coaches have been very, very open in loving that. So it's something that I want to keep going. So there will be a Recruiting 101 continuation. So that is something that I'm brewing, and I'm really proud of, because if one person can learn something, I'm happy. I just want people to be able to gain something from it. And that brings me joy. So
yeah, that's the goal, man. Look, as long as someone gets something out of it, job well done, right? Like it's not game. So what's the ultimate goal for you? Like, are you like, do you want to become like a beat reporter for a team? Do you want to like, what's the ultimate goal for you?
Yeah, this question gets me. If you asked me maybe a year or two ago, maybe I would say, oh my God, I want to be on ESPN. I want to be a Malika Andrews. I want to be a Joy Taylor. But I just really want to be me. I want to do the things that I enjoy when I want to do them. So I think my services will be needed in different arenas. I love talking to the youth. I love doing interviews. I've done interviews with some of the 5-star recruits of this college class, whether it's the Georgia Bulldogs, the Sooners, like different recruits. I've had sit downs with them. I love talking to the youth before they even make it to the big stage in college. I love hosting events. I love doing red carpet interviews. I love doing so many things, and I want to keep it. I want to keep doing the things that I love at kind of my pace. So for me, the ultimate goal is to do what I want to do when I want to do it.
You want the freedom.
Yeah, I don't want to be tied to anything. I don't want to be like, I don't want to be overworked and underpaid. I want to move at my pace. And people ask me like, why don't you apply to this? One, it don't pay enough, and two, it's gonna work me way too hard. I don't want to lose any joy that I have doing this. It's truly joy. I do it when I can do it, and how I want to do it, and I don't want to lose that. But if someone wants to hire me for more on the strategic side, then of course that'll be a little bit more time consuming. But my ultimate goal is to be in a position where I can grow the game of football globally. Absolutely. So if I work in IT, like a lot of people don't know that I work in IT. That's my 9 to 5. Like sports isn't my 9 to 5, but IT is my 9 to 5. But if I could take the strategic kind of baseline that I apply to IT to football and growing the game, I would be in love. Like it would never feel like work to me. So I could say that maybe that's my ultimate goal. Media is just something that I truly enjoy, and I almost do it at my leisure. And it is not easy, and sometimes I don't think the work is appreciated to the capacity it should be. In media, people should get paid a lot more, and people think because they see you on the carpet, they see you here, that you have this lucrative salary. But IT pays my bills. I'm gonna just tell you that right now.
Hey, look, I would love for football to pay the bills, but not yet. We haven't reached that point yet. But I love what you said.
You absolutely will.
No, absolutely. And I love what you said. And my grandma used to always say, we're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time. So do what you love.
Yeah, right? Absolutely.
He loves sports. So, keep doing your thing. Real quick, before we end, put your Twitter handle out there, your IG handle, wherever people can follow you. Go ahead and put that out there.
I am Deesports on every single platform, from YouTube to Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. I'm always going to call it Twitter. Instagram, please. Oh, definitely Instagram, because DC Defenders content is going to be one of my primary goals, after post-draft. I'm going to be at the draft. And it's so funny because I remember last year I was at the draft and some of the Defender players are like, are you coming to the game on Saturday or something? I'm like, yo, I'm going to be there. Like, I'm leaving the draft and I'm coming straight to the game. Like, I'm going to make sure I highlight these guys. So I'm also, there's other women that cover the DC Defenders, Ashley Baker, Arabia. Like, Arabia is phenomenal. I think her handle is all NFL 32, doing some collaborations with her. So Deesports on Instagram, YouTube. I don't know. Facebook is something else. I don't know, but you could Deesports on everything. You'll find my content.
Deesports. I love it, man. Again, I put her IG handle up there. Obviously she Deesports. And do you still do sports and coffee? Is that still a thing?
Yeah, every morning. I have Tip. He helps me hold it down because, again, I do have a 9 to 5. I am there most mornings. I'm there. But Tip helps me. My guy Roddy helps me. My girl Tink helps me. It is Sports and Coffee was something that I initially started like during pandemic times, and it has grown, and it's in its second year, and it has become a family. You know, we started with a couple people in the room, and it's grown, and it's had its huge moments where we've had like crazy you know, debates for hours where like we have 3,000 people in the room, and it's really become a family. And it's also trademarked, so like it's ours. When I say ours, I know people say it's mine, but it's ours as a family. No one can take Sports and Coffee from us. Nice. And it is our baby, and we've become such a community that I feel like even if I can't be there, I want it to live on. Like I want Sports and Coffee to be a place where people can come. And shout out to Uncle Luke, like the legend Uncle Luke. Every time I come into space, he says it wrong. He is 60-something years old, y'all, but he'd be like, shout out to D, coffee and sports in the morning. And you know, he always says it wrong, but he always shows love. And I appreciate just the people that, you know, shout out Sports and Coffee and come in and show us love in and out, because the people are why Sports and Coffee still exists. It's not me, it's everyone else. So
no, man, Uncle Luke is the truth. He definitely be sliding through spaces. So shout out to you. He loves sports. He's always been involved in sports. So again, y'all, again, D, thank you so much. I know you're so busy. Go kill it at the draft. Go kill it in everything that you do, because you are a rock star, and I just can't wait to see what's next for you. And for everybody out there just watching and tuning in, man, stay locked with us. We got more content and more things coming for you. So I'm super excited for both of our futures. And
shout out to you. Keep grinding. Live after live after live. Okay.
Thank you. And until next time, y'all. Peace.
See ya.